he had been wrestling. He started out, I think, in Independence in Ohio. Maybe I'm trying to think. Didn't he spend some time in Michigan and Ohio, and then Memphis, maybe?
Perhaps.
So he'd been wrestling for a short time here. But I mean, he was what a fucking athlete. Both the Steiners were. So he was good from the beginning, even though they were. You know, once again, it was like being in a friendly street fight at some point with Rick and Scott both, because they were so strong, but they weren't dangerous. They were just stiff, and you know, you could tell right off the bat we got something. These two fucking All-Americans from Michigan. He looked good. You know, Rick fucking, Scott was the prettier of the two, but Rick was the more experienced of the two, but they both kind of took to things like a duck to water. So there was a good point. Mm-hmm. And the Midnight later on would go to have, you know, tremendous matches with the Steiners. Robin Green had come in as a fan of the Steiners and you know, a fan of Rick in particular, and this meek, demure, timid little thing, and then suddenly, finally, when the payoff, when they go on their first date, she's revealed as this hot, fucking incredible, and I mean, Nancy was just gorgeous, and you know, so it was something that Nancy was great. She did a great job at anything she was asked to do. She'd been around the business for a while. You know, it was Kevin's deal, so he was shepherding it to make sure it didn't go sideways, and it really put a lot of attention on the Steiners, and especially on Rick, who was so great at being a goofball, the dog-faced gremlin. That's how he was a heel, or he was a baby face, but he had been a heel with the Varsity Club, right? But he still got over with that. He was goofy without being silly goofy. He was believable goofy. You thought, I'd love to hang out with this fucking guy. He's got to be a nut, right? He was perfect at that. So then as baby faces, he was the simple-minded one that they could kind of take advantage of, and his brother Scott could be the one to say, hey, but you felt sorry. He got sympathy. Even to get sympathy on a guy as big and mean and tough as Rick Steiner was not easy, but because he was so good at it, it was possible.